What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 16 different altcoins today. 16 different altcoins at the request of you, the viewers. Yes, requests. These are all requests. I don't have any interest in any of these coins. No, I mean, I might... Some of them I actually own, and some of them I do have interest in, but some of them I've also never heard of. This is the first time we're talking about them, right? That's why we do these videos, so that we can sift through the dirt, sift through things that we might even know about but we haven't had eyes on in a while, right? And just see if there's any opportunities lying around to put money in, because ideally all of us, whether you're predominantly invested in the crypto markets or even a little bit, right? Hopefully all of us are stacking money on the side, right? We are slowly, like in the real world, stacking money so that when opportunities present themselves, even though you're already invested in crypto, you have more cash to throw into the market at ideal times. And that's what's nice about videos like this, because if you have cash like that, if one of these coins to you seems like it's worth looking into, seems like it might be a prime opportunity, you know, that's kind of the point of this. And that's the point of it for me too, right? You guys do the request and you always say thank you for doing my requests, C-Zar, and I'm like, hey, I appreciate it, but the thing is, man, is I like doing these requests. I like knowing what you guys want to see, because it gets me looking at things that I might not have heard of or might not have looked up myself. And anyways, man, I'm just rambling at this point, but it's good. It's good. If we all find a diamond in the rough together, that's good. You know, I'm appreciative of these requests is what I was trying to say. So you guys hit that like button and subscribe. Sometimes we got to go through 100 to find a diamond in the rough, but we got 16 tonight. Here's the list. If you'd like, you can look at the list in the description below. I will leave timestamps. If you don't see the timestamps, you've watched the video right as it got published. So maybe within, you know, like an hour after it gets published, it'll be there, or less. But here's the list. Flare for the Unleavened Baptist, Brett for Unlawful Law, Mana for Flytime, Fetch.ai for Unlawful Law as well, BTG, that's Bitcoin Gold, for Garcha, Compound for Gandalf, I think it's Gandalf, Luna Classic for Mr. Party Boy, COTI for Denny Kane, Beer for Saints Scholars, DJT, Donald Trump token for Mikarbajal. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Jasmine for Muhammad El Mensi, BSV and Zen for TMS Mogamadu. I'm just going to say Amadou. That's what I always say, Amadou. From this day forth, I'm calling you Amadou, just Amadou, because I met an Amadou once, and I'm pretty sure that's how he spelled it at the end of your name there. So, special shout out to Smooth Operator. He also requested BSV. I don't normally do two shout outs, but you requested 2 coins, Amadou, so I'm going to give one of the shout outs to Smooth Operator there. Amadou requested it first. Anyways, Zen after BSV, Bird Dog for Pashkokalaj. I don't know. Ada Cardano for Nelson Farrell, YFI for TS Tilly. And that's it. That's the list. So hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get this thing started, man. I've wasted enough time, spent enough time. It wasn't wasted, but spent enough time talking about the introduction, or going over the introduction. From a low to a high on Flare, first and foremost, we are finding support at the 382. It's a very common area on the fib scale, right? And this is a pretty significant fib. The chart in itself, being on the weekly scale here, hasn't existed for long, right? If we go to anything that actually has its all-time history, it's existed a little bit longer. This is back in January of 2023, where on this chart, you know, it only has history going back to April, so it's missing a few months, but whatever. I don't care so much about that information. It's not as relevant to me. But taking the all-time low to the most relative high, I think, is pretty significant on a fib scale. So generally speaking, on a strong move like this, you do look to find support on the 382. It's not required. It's not a requirement. It's not an obligation. We could bounce off the 0.5. We could go to the 618. We could bounce somewhere in between these lines. We don't have to go directly on them, but finding support and holding support here, you know, most people might think grinding out a flat base like that might not be good, but I actually think you might hold this area and move up. And generally, grinding out a flat base is not good, but I mean, you did it here right above the 618. You're doing it here right above the 382. I think you're going to move up higher from here. I think you found your low. When are you going to move up is the question. Let's see if we can answer that. Looking at the RSI, well, it's not positioned well on the weekly, but you are above the 40, which is good. You know, it's somewhat of a neutral read. I like the daily. It's definitely postured in a constructive fashion. As long as you're holding above these previous lows and really holding above that 40 area there, I like the daily. If you get below that, if you start to turn this a little bit, that might not look good. So just keep going up. Hold this line that you've been holding, essentially, and then I have faith that you will move up. And where are you going to move up to whenever it's time? We'll see if we can answer the when question. You're going to move up first to about 3.5 cents. You're at 2.7 cents now, so just under 3.5 cents, maybe just over. It's very common to go a little bit through the 382 on your first interaction, but so maybe just over 3.5 cents. And then 4.15 to 4.4 cents is your next target. If not your first target, sometimes you do just make your way to your 618. And then whenever you are ready to see new all-time highs, we got about 7 cents to 9 cents on the brain. You're at 2.7 cents now. So that will happen in a very short amount of time. It's just a matter of when you break out of this. The way that the daily RSI is looking, I wouldn't say, you know, let's just paint a perfect picture here, right? Let's imagine an ideal kind of scenario where you're in this somewhat of like a rough trajectory upwards, right? You're at the base of it here. Maybe you go up. Maybe you come back down, maybe you go back up, maybe on this next attempt, not the next attempt, but the attempt after, maybe that's the attempt that you actually get into the overbought zone. And then maybe you bounce off the 60 and you get deeper into it, right? During this time, whenever you get into the overbought zone, if you're going up at this like kind of rate, it's not the best estimate, right? We're really guessing here and assuming, but perhaps by the end of June, you could see a break of this range. Why am I getting that? Why am I projecting that? Because I'm just going off of this rough kind of path that you're on right now. I would assume you're at the bottom of it, the base of it, right? You probably come back up. You might go a little bit higher than this, but not that much higher. It's probably going to take time. It's not just going to be in a day or two. I mean, if it is, cool. I doubt that you're going to go up to the overbought zone on this next attempt. I would think that it would be sometime later this month. So just based off of that path. If I'm wrong, then cool. Everything I'm about to say happens sooner, but I think that once you break out of this move, that's when you'll start moving up fast. Until then, you might just kind of dilly-dally, right, meander, and then when you break out, that's when you'll see your like fast move. So we're dilly-dallying now. When we break out, it's going to be bigger than just that there. It's definitely going to send us to new highs, but it's going to take weeks, days, right? I mean, like on this overall move, it feels like you moved up pretty straight, right? You draw that line of best fit, it's pretty straight. But there was, you know, over a month where you're moving sideways. There were a few weeks here where you were just kind of stagnant, moving up and down and up and down, right? So it might seem like a straight line on certain weeks, but overall, I mean, if you're paying attention to it day by day, it's not going to be as fast as you might think, right? From this low, it was October, to the high in February, took several months to achieve. So likely, I think you're not going to break out until later this month. I do think you found your low. I think you're going to break out later this month, and then over the coming months, to close out the summer, to kick off the winter, to end the year, that's when you're going to be at your next high point, which genuinely could be, I mean, yeah, all the way up at 9 cents to 11 or 12 cents. I mean, even higher than that. It's my cat. I don't think you're going to stop at these lower levels. Anyways, that's Flare. Let's talk about Brett. Brett on KuCoin. No. That's not. Nope. Might have to do it on Dex Screener. I do this every time, I think. Maybe Bybit. Hey, Bybit's a good one. Let's use Bybit. Let's make sure it's right, though. I want the price to be somewhat there. 17.66. Hey, 17.7 is close enough in my opinion. So, yeah, 17.6 there. There we go. Anyways, relative high to low. I'm not taking the scam wick. I'm taking this low. Yeah, you tipped right off your 1618, showing support there, and your 100. Beautiful moves, man. Yeah, tipped off your 61869 area here. I think this is very well respected. It looks like you're moving up to your 2272. You're at about 17.7 cents now. Genuinely, I believe you're going to move up to about 24 cents, 23.5 cents over the coming days. Yeah, you got bearish divergence. Yeah, you do. But you can form double bearish divergence, move up a little bit more, triple bearish divergence even, right? Like it doesn't have to stop there. You are coming, the way this daily RSI looks right now, guys, it's very formidable. And it's there. There's no argument. That is bearish divergence for sure. And it's yet to play out. So is it a good time to buy? No. It's probably a good time to start DCAing out if you're looking to DCA out. But That's not me recommending anything for anybody. You guys do your own things, make your own decisions, right? We still have a lot of bull cycle left to go. So even if you hold and it goes up and then it goes lower than the current price is now, it'll probably likely go up above whatever the next momentary high is going to be, which I happen to think is going to be between about 23 and 25 cents. But if you happen to move down beforehand, likely you'd go back to where this divergence formed, which is all the way back down here at the 1272. Rejecting the 2272, coming back down to your 1272. It's kind of a common maneuver, man. Like the 1618 to the 100.86 area, that's a pretty common maneuver. But you don't have to go all the way back to the 1272. But that is where the divergence originated from, was back down here at about just below 10 cents. It's a pretty big drop. So anyways, DCAing out might not be a bad time, especially with this bearish divergence presented. I do, however, think you're going to go up higher. From the current price, you're at 17.7%. Without repeating myself over and over again, I'm just going to say you probably have roughly 30% more to grow from the current price before you're faced with your next kind of correctional phase, right? It's not going to be the end of the world. This didn't end, Brett. It just put it on pause for a second, right? And that's what will come soon enough. That's what this means. I don't think you're there yet. I do think you have more to go. And the 4 hour, oh man, oh my goodness, actually. I mean, I would say it agrees. It looks very bullish, but you do have, I would call that 3 drives. Nope, not 3 drives technically, actually. 2 drives of bearish divergence. Not 3 drives, 2 technically. But it looks so good, man. I don't know. Volume's building too. Not so much here, but that's okay. I mean, if you can continue to move up, maybe you don't move up, man. That's hard to say. I guess that's not really the best look, especially with the decreasing in volume and the bearish divergence. But to be fair, you've already played this local bearish divergence out. Are you to play out all this divergence? That's a bigger question. Like, will you move all the way back down to this low at about 12.5 cents? I don't know. If you were, I would think that would kick off this overall divergence you have on the daily, and you'd go lower than just 12.5 cents. But maybe you do have one. I think you have one more move up in you, and that's 23 to 25 cents. That's what I'm sticking with. So if I'm wrong about that, we will see you just around but below 10 cents. That's Brett. Mana, Decentraland. Big circle drawn on there. Mana is sitting at about 42 cents. Man, this is a good buy, honestly. Low in its accumulation phase, right? Hasn't really done too much. Gets to the top here and then rejects. When we break this area, right, you can see how somewhat significant it is. Resistance, support area here. A little bit of resistance right there before we really started moving down. Somewhat kind of in the middle of this whole thing here, resistance. Anyways, when we break above that, I think we're going to see fireworks to the upside, a standard retracement based off of this all-time high to the current cycle low. I guess that's the cycle low, to be fair, but that low of this move would be at about, the minimum target. I'm sorry, we're talking about retracements first. Once you break this white line down here at about 81 cents, $1.85 and above becomes a rapidly approaching reality, right? This thing, whenever it moves up, it likes to do it a lot, and it likes to do it very fast. So when this line breaks, it will be like that, man, when we're above, probably above $2 and then beyond, right? We're not just going to go all the way up here overnight, right? But over here, this could, maybe not tomorrow night, maybe not the next night, but whenever we do break this line, we will probably see just a nice move up to this area. And that makes sense because it's the golden ratio, but that also comes in line with the support zone back here. I'll show you, right? And I just circled that same area, right? You can see it there, boom. That's the golden ratio, but that's also your support zone down here. So breaking out of your accumulation phase, testing your most recent area of support as resistance and consolidating before you break out further, it's kind of normal. It's kind of normal behavior. So that's what I think Mana is going to do inevitably. For the time being, the weekly RSI, I think, looks fine. It could look better. Yeah, it looks fine though. Honestly, that's not a bad. It's not the most straight line, but you can kind of see what I'm going for here, right? There's some kind of channel going on. What if we draw a straight line? Does it fit? Not really, but it's still a higher low. And you're holding the 40. There's good things about the week. It definitely looks good, but could look better, sure. Daily RSI is in a bad position, yet constructive position too. I do like seeing these higher lows coming in and these higher highs. This kind of like general channel of a formation, even if it's not completely respected, especially coming off of this like lower channel breaking out of this right here, right? I know I'm drawing ugly here, but that's kind of like where you broke out of this downward channel. I do like this overall as like a constructive look. It's just you need to hold this line. You need to start moving up now, today. If we move down from here, it can't be by much, right? Like it really can't be, but we need to start moving up today. So probably a good time to buy, I'm guessing. I think that it is going to move up. Let's look at the 4-hour here. 4-hour looks weak. We're not getting a lot. I just think that mana is going to move up from here, because if it moves down, I mean, it would likely go to the bottom of this range, and that would put it below 30 cents. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying that would prevent it from doing great things later. It wouldn't make too much sense to me, but I suppose it could happen. Anyways, mana, hold the line, move up, and don't even talk to me until you're above 82 cents. But really, if you do move up from here, your next move is probably going to be around 60 to 64 cents, something like that. But let's wait and see. It's really going to be exciting once it's above 82 cents. Until then, whatever, who cares? And it's not who cares. This is one of my bigger holdings, actually, mana, but it hasn't been the most exciting coin. Let's just be fair, right? FET, USD. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you haven't. Very much appreciate everybody who does that. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for being here watching the video. If you're having a good time, hit that like button, man. Just really does help. I don't like the weekly breaking out of this kind of like somewhat. It looks somewhat kind of constructive, other than this part here. That looks like a leak in the hole there. Looks like you consolidated and you're breaking out. Fetch. That's kind of not what I was expecting. Yeah, you didn't hold the 1886. You got below. I think the last time I made a video on fetch, it was probably before last week's dump, of which you only dumped, 16%. That is a pretty significant dump. You're probably going lower. You're probably going down to your 1618, 1414, 1272 areas, somewhere down here. I like the 1618, especially from the 2272 going to the 1618, but you can go all the way back to the 1272. If you put a line right here at the weekly closing high from before, that would actually be right there. If we put a line right here at the all-time high prior to this, that does fit in that realm as well. So anywhere between $1.32 to technically 85 cents is on the table. You're at $1.67 now. So $1.32 to 86 cents, 85 cents, that's kind of your destination target. I do like $1.32, to be completely fair, but as far as price action goes, you might go just below that and interact with these wicks up here. So down is what I'm thinking so far. Let's see if the daily would agree with that. Let's see here. The daily would agree with that. Yeah, it looks like you've broken out. It looks like you have. And it looks like you have lower to go rather immediately. I would think you come down here probably in like formation with these lows somewhat. Yeah, you're heading down, man. I mean, just the way this looks, you might genuinely be heading toward $1. Maybe not quite $1. Maybe that 1618 isn't where you go. Let's just see. Let's look. Hold on real quick. So that's a big drop, right, that I'm talking about. There's that one. 1272 down to your 180. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, man. I think $1.20 or lower. Actually, I stand by that. I think $1.20 or lower. Yeah. 85 cents would hold, I would think. Maybe 84 cents would hold, but yeah, lower, and that's okay. That's okay. It had a phenomenal rally. It's going to go back to areas of support and then continue to rise. It's just taking a break right now, right? Before it saw this phenomenal rally, it went down and consolidated for a lot longer than it did here, right? That's all I got to say. So fetch probably going down. It's not me saying that it's a good time to sell. There is a difference, and I'm not saying that. That's not some cheap parlor trick, guys. If I bought fetch, genuinely, I didn't, but if I bought fetch up here and I waited until now, I wouldn't be selling here. If I wanted to sell, I would have. If I bought up here and I wanted to sell, I should have done it up here. It's broken out now. It's moving down. I suppose if you want to get out, you can, but to each their own, not financial advice. You never know. You're at the base of this consolidation, technically, like at this previous low, you could just find support and move out. I can be wrong, right? The TA can be right, but call the wrong move still, right? The TA's, everything makes sense for it to go down, but that doesn't mean it has to go down. It can go up. So by no means am I saying sell. It's not a cheap trick. That's the genuine truth. I would say buy more, right? If you're looking, if Fetch FET USD has your attention, you've bought some up here, or you wanted to buy some, but you're not sure, wait till it drops, buy more, and then when it comes up, you can reap those rewards. Instead of trying to play that game of sell here, oh, maybe it goes up, and then you're buying at higher prices. Or sell here, wait for it to drop, oh, maybe it doesn't go as low as you think it will, and it catches you off guard, and then before you know it, it's above the current price that you just sold, and then you're in this emotional battle. Don't do that to yourself. Just hold what you have. If I was doing this, I'm speaking from a point of like my own personal opinion, what I would do in this exact situation. I would buy and I would hold until the end of the cycle, which nobody knows when the end of cycle is going to be, but I do think it's going to be not in 2024. Being that we're not even halfway done with 2024, I think it's safe to assume that we've got plenty of time to grow, right? And in that amount of time, we can see a lot of growth from Fetch. So it's not worth playing this little tic-tac-toe game where I could sell here, buy here, and then try to, reap the rewards up here. Just if it's going to go up to $8, $12, it's at $1.66 now, why would you sell here? You know what I mean? No point in selling here. Only a point in buying more if it goes lower, and that's all I'm going to say there. So that goes for everything. It's not just for Fetch. I hope most of you watch that part, because when I started, it was the same thing for me, man. Whenever I'd watch people make calls, and I'm figuring out what technical analysis is, I would mistake it's going down for sell now. It's going up for buy now. It's not the same thing. I can see where those dots are connected logically in your mind, but it makes sense, but it also makes sense what I'm saying. We're being very literal here. This is technical analysis. We're going to be technical in the charts and with our words, right? Technically, I'm not saying sell. I'm saying I think it's going to go down, and there is a difference. And in this game, that difference, treating that as a difference, is essential. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Too big of a tangent. BTG, Bitcoin Gold on, I don't know, crypto looks fine. All right, Bitcoin Gold, man. I haven't heard of this thing in a while. Yeah, it's been around, for a while. For a little while now. Not a hard fork, a soft fork. Or is it even a fork of Bitcoin? It might be its own blockchain. I don't know. It's got a different amount. It's got less Bitcoins, doesn't it? That's why it's called Bitcoin Gold. Or maybe that's Bitcoin Diamond that I'm thinking of. Nope, 21. Maybe I'm thinking of Bitcoin Diamond. Maybe it is a fork. I don't know too much about this one. I've heard of it before, but I just thought it was a fake Bitcoin, right? And I haven't paid much attention to it. All in all, the chart doesn't really impress me too much. Just to be honest, let's look at the BTG, BTC if they have it. Yeah, we don't have that, unfortunately. We can just compare it though. We can make our own. I guess actually, what we would do is this, right? To BTC USD on Coinbase. Sure, maybe. Does that do it? Yeah, there we go. It's at 0. It's in the decimals. I think this is comparing it to Bitcoin, right? Does that look right? Let's see. Yeah, different charts you can see. Okay, so hey, versus Bitcoin here. If you guys didn't know you can do that, you can do that. I was just going to compare it the old-fashioned way, but I made my own chart technically, right? Like this isn't on an exchange, right? No symbols match your chart criteria, but I took BTG USD from the crypto chart and then used BTC USD on the Coinbase chart, and voila, here we go. Here's our info. So this is essentially BTG versus BTC. You've got a double bottom. It's actually kind of a good look. Like that right there, dude, that's clean. That is a clean double bottom. Now, is that as low as it can go? Because it can't go past more zeros. Like it gets incrementally harder. I don't know. We don't have enough zeros to elaborate on this because it's a custom chart that I've put up on here. But let's pretend that is a double bottom. Let's pretend that it is what it looks like it is. Weekly RSI looks fine. It's not perfect. It could look better, but it's good enough. I'd say it's fine. I mean, technically, you had this kind of trend, right? Back here, look at this. Higher lows, broke out of it. On this breakout point, you found your low, and then you moved up. Higher lows, you kind of broke out of it, kind of. Found your low. I mean, maybe you're going to break out. Maybe you move down lower from here, but maybe you move higher after that, obviously. The daily RSI would suggest that you go lower, but again, I don't think you go lower than that low. I think that double bottom's actually there. This is versus BTC, just so you know, but not USD. We're going to go back to the USD in a second. 2272 hit. Again, man, those 2272s are relevant. What about this one? Probably relevance. Almost the 1618 right there. That's actually a good look in itself. Yeah, I think inevitably you will move higher. I like that as a double bottom. If that is a double bottom, a true double bottom, and this cycle you were to see a breakout of this overall like consolidation that you've been in since really like 2019, you might look to move up to like 1% of a Bitcoin and beyond, genuinely. I guess that'd be just under a percent of a Bitcoin. I'm sorry, because that's a percent up there. It all says the same, but again, it's weird because it's a custom chart. There's hope, man. There's hope for BTG, is what this is saying, in my opinion. Like, it could do well this cycle. It hasn't outperformed Bitcoin so far, but it might start to. As of now, like as of this month and going forward, as of this week and going forward, it might start to. Which is big. That's a big deal. We've got a lot of bull cycle left. To outperform Bitcoin for the rest of the bull cycle would be interesting, to say the least. But we got to see how you do with this 886 area. It's an area, you know, even just above it, because it's not the most perfect chart. You found support here, resistance, 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 all this time in this area. So if you can't break above that area, then, I mean, you'll still do well against Bitcoin for a time, but maybe it's not going to be as dramatic of a cycle as I was hoping it would be. Back to the USD chart here. That's all just assuming too, right? I can be wrong. Assumptions are not always accurate. 786 resistance, nice rounded bottom. Finding, I mean, you tipped the 618 right there, man. And then on the BTG, BTC chart, you tipped the 1618. That's pretty freaking awesome, man. Golden ratio at its finest. Let's see, top to bottom, 618 area hit, 236 area. It's unorthodox, but it happens. Previous kind of breakout point, finding it for support. Yeah, man, I think you are. I think BTG, you're at 26 bucks, dude. You might be moving up to 354, 923. Yeah, like genuinely, you might be moving all the way up there. It could take till the end of the cycle to get there. By the end of the cycle, you could go higher, I suppose. If you were to pull a Bitcoin move, whenever it was at these prices, it went all the way up to its 2272. Not saying that 5,000 was its high, but it did go up to its relative 2272s the first two cycles that it has. This would have been its second cycle here for BTG. So, I mean, maybe. I don't think that's going to happen. You know, that'd be a nice little bit of gain. I don't know, man. I might look more into Bitcoin Gold, see what it's about. These Bitcoin forks. I don't know if it's a fork though, right? I'm just saying that, but I do like Bitcoin Cash the most out of any Bitcoin fork, but I like it, and that's saying even more than BTC, right? Because BTC, people don't think of it like this, but BTC is a Bitcoin fork. That's what a hard fork is. Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin hard forked into BCH and BTC. That's what happened. That's what I mean. So Bitcoin Cash is my favorite form of Bitcoin. I don't know if it'll be the most dominant one, but going forward, but hopefully, but maybe not. Compound is the next one. All in all, for Bitcoin Gold, I think you're moving up right now, man. I think genuinely you're on your way higher. I think that is your low. You could maybe over the coming days move down just a little bit, right? But I don't think you go lower than that. And I think over the coming weeks and over coming months, you're going to be back above 50, back above 60 bucks, and on your way to like over $100. When you break above 120, then it's on to these new relative highs at about 350 to 520. Probably not higher than that, though. Probably not higher than that for this cycle. So decent gains, nonetheless, for BTG. Especially if it goes lower. Hold on. Okay, let's see here. Compound on Coinbase. 1 second, you guys. Just 1 second. Okay. Oh. Man, there we go. How to turn that down, man. It's getting hot in here. Hold on. It didn't turn on. Hold on. There we go. There we go. $53.5 right now for compound, holding the 236, ping pong in between this area. I think you've found your low. I don't think you'll move low. I mean, you can move lower than this currently, but I don't think you move lower than that low. Inevitably you will move up. We're waiting for a positive interaction again, kind of with this area around $61 to $63, somewhere in that area. Break through that, 70 to 75 is on the horizon, and then once we break through that, we're looking for $100. I mean, technically, I guess 87.5, but I really think that this high point is the area we need to break. Once we break that area, we're onward and upward. I don't think that we're going to stop here. I think this expected zone, it might provide temporary turbulence, but inevitably, I actually think compound is on its way on a much larger scale over the weeks and months. Up to $235 and $300, because really the line in the sand to break, this is why I was talking about $100, is right here at about 100, where 101 is the 382 of the overall fib, and generally when you break the 382, 618 is the area that you go to, 61869. So on a weekly basis it might take more time. That's why I was saying whenever I was using this fib, this more relative fib on these extensions, that I don't think this like expected extension area is going to be our stopping point. It might be a turbulence point, but then on our way up higher, right? But on a weekly format, might not even be as significant. So all in all, guys, same thing, just boring compound until it's not. And I was talking to someone, I said this exact thing, maybe not this exact thing, but this is my idea behind it, right? Somebody was talking to me, and no hate, no shade, everybody do their own thing. I hope the best for everybody who does whatever you're trying to do, but he was saying that he wanted to cycle some coins around, reallocate his current holdings, and move things around. And imagine that, like with compound, like if you had, I don't know if he said he sold compound, I don't think he did, maybe he did, but imagine being bored on this coin, right? And you buy a coin like this, right, that hasn't been boring, it's been doing phenomenal, and you buy a coin like this, and now this coin goes lower, does a normal thing, right, consolidates after an immense move up back to an area of support, and it's going down, and you bought up here because this coin was exciting, you bought it there, but now it's compound's turn to be exciting, and you waited you bought back here, man, and you waited all this time to miss out the good part because you wanted to catch something that was already at the top of its good part. You know what I mean? Like I get it. I get how frustrating it is, man. I really get how frustrating it is to be allocated across a bunch of coins and not see them do well and see other coins do well. But in crypto, you guys, I promise you, things take their turns. There's not too many things I can promise you, but I do promise you things take their turns. And it is so frustrating to watch coins that you have your eyes on, watch the coin that you hold the least of go up the most, while the biggest bag you have, the one that you're the most certain of, goes up the least or even goes down, and it's stagnant and it's boring over the months, over this whole cycle. I get it. It's frustrating. But the only thing that's more frustrating than that is going through all of this, getting out here to buy something that's already done this, and then it does it finally. That's more, it's tremendously, it's not slightly more frustrating, it's like soul crushingly more frustrating. So anybody who's bored of compound, I feel you. Anybody who's bored of any of their coins they're holding, I feel you. We're still very early in the cycle, guys, right? I mean, not like very early anymore. We're like at the midway point, I would say, but we've got a lot of time left. Crypto does not need a lot of time to do phenomenal things, right? In a very short amount of time, you can go from $82 to $548, right? It can take from, that was November until February. That's like 3 months, right? So it doesn't take long to see immense growth, and we've definitely got more than 3 months left in this cycle. But anyways, I digress. Let's get back to the point, the topic at hand here. Compound moving sideways, boring until it's not. Then it'll move up, and it won't be boring, and then people will be like, hey, should I buy it now at $300? And I'll be like, you should have not sold it when you sold it. But teach their own. I hope you all do well, hope everybody makes money in this cycle, and it's not going to happen. Not everybody can make money. It's just not going to happen, right? The money comes from us. We're taking each other's money at the end of the day, man. It's a cutthroat business, but we know what we're doing, right? Hopefully, the little guys are taking more money from the big guys and not the other way around. But at the same time, I've got some friends who are millionaires that invest in crypto and in stocks, and family members too. I hope that that they do. I hope the big man makes money too. It's hard, man. I hope that, I think there is enough money in the markets that anybody watching this channel can. I think every person who's watching this video can make money. So there's that hope, right? It's just for us, guys. Just for us. Everybody, if you're watching this video, we're the ones claiming the gains this cycle. Hopefully. Anybody can make profits. Only the pros take profits. That's the thing, man. From relative low to high, holding that 618 area, I think you look fine. 786, I think that was your low. You could move lower, sure. I mean, you could go back to your 786, sure, you could, but I think you found your low. You're inevitably going to work your way up higher. I wouldn't buy Lunacy, guys. This thing's got nothing going for it. Do Kwon's in jail. Weekly RSI looks fine. It actually kind of looks good, even with this rejection off the 50. I do think you're going to move higher. I think you are. Let's look for a move up to 3014755 to 30188. You're at 30106 right now. Once you break above this 236, these previous areas of resistance here and back here, once you break through 30188, it's on probably to this area where you had resistance for a brief little bit, like 3032. It's a nice little bit of growth in a short amount of time, but whenever it happens, when you break out, which might be weeks from now or even a month or so from now, I think you're going to move lower first. I meant it when I said this is your low. I just think you're going to move lower first. See you at 40s8917 to 40s85. That's my thoughts on Lunacy. COTI, C-O-T-I, COTI. Looking like it wants to move down. Oh no. Looking like it wants to move down. Yeah. I don't know anything about this one. Oh, that's okay. It can move down a little bit. It'll be fine. I hope. It's just if it's if I can talk, if it broke down, it's consolidating and it's about to break down again, that would not be good, right? Back down to previous areas of support. That's not the straightest drawn line, but coming in line with this area or even this area, that'd be a sizable drop. We're talking about, you're at 12 cents now. We're talking about a down to 7.2 cents, maybe even down to 5 cents of a drop, right? If this is an impulse, consolidate, further, third leg down kind of movement. The weekly RSI is fairly neutral, as the price has been. Rejecting the 50 is not a good look. I do like the overall posturing of it, though. The daily RSI is the one thing that kind of has me scared, I'm not going to lie. And then just the overall kind of demeanor of the price action right now. You need to hold this area. You really can't give up any ground. Let's check in on this. Denny Kane, or anybody who likes COTI, if you could request this maybe in a few days or even by the end of this week, I think it'd be worth checking in on. Because in a few days, if you've done this, well, that's not good. In a few days, if you've done this, that's really good. So at a critical point, nonetheless, definitely at a critical point. Right on it. So hopefully you hold support here. Let's look at the 4-hour. I don't have hopes, but you do have bullish divergence, the potential for it actually here. Maybe you hold support. I'm going to call it right now. I think we're at the low. The relative low. The next time you see this thing, man, in a day or two, it's probably going to be up higher. I think so. I think what you've got here is a very clean look of somewhat of a ascending triangle. I think that's what you got. And if it holds here, daily RSI is fine, weekly RSI is fine. You've got good things going for you. You've also got bad things going for you. It took me a second to really get that figured out. I do think it looks like it wants to break out to the downside right now, but that's only if you continue to move lower. And after giving it further thought, after looking at it, we're right at the line right now, threading the needle to a T, right? We're right in the eye of the needle right now. I just don't think we're going to poke out the other side. I think that thread's about to pull back through, man. I don't know. analogy is over. Just what I'm saying is, I think you hold here, and you're going to move up. And everybody who's watching this video right now, check COTI. Tell me if I'm wrong, and if I am, leave it in the comments. You were wrong. You suck. Beer. Beer is the next coin. We're talking about beer for Saints Scholars. Saints Scholars, I think, actually. Sorry. Beer. $20 million in volume. That's probably the one. Right? I have. Saints Scholars. I actually have heard of this. I've seen it on Deck Screener. I remember looking at the mascot there. Yeah. Dude, I checked this. I saw this thing. Oh, no. Can you guys hear me? All right, good. It like glitched out for a second. Maybe it didn't on your end, but my mic like turned on and turned off, which scares me sometimes. Dude, I saw this. I checked this thing out. I want to say it was in May. How much has it grown since then? It's always the ones that you like give it a thought, you look at it, but you never actually get into it. From a low to a high, okay, I mean, I can deal with that. A 3x. A 3x I'd love to have on anything, right? But I'm not going to be like, a 30x, you know what I mean? Sometimes these coins do that. You'd be like, beer, huh? I like the little mascot. I should have bought it, I guess, right? That's not me saying that it's a good buy now. Although the chart doesn't look bad. Let's look at it. Oh. It's an intense RSI. Yeah, I think it wants to go higher. I think so, yeah. What's the market cap? Beer coin. 418 million. That's pretty solid. Pretty decent volume on that too. That's not bad. That's actually really good, guys. It could go higher. Yeah, oh yeah. Probably not much higher. Probably nothing like dramatic. A coin like this probably stands to lose more than it stands to gain, to be completely fair. So I'm out. But if you want a short-term play, I mean, relatively safe, I suppose. You're in somewhat of a symmetrical triangle. I thought it was an ascending triangle, but looking at it now, it looks more like a symmetrical triangle and or a pennant, however you want to call it. Essentially, if you break that lower line, just get out, right? Eat the small loss. If it breaks that upper line, wait for the new high to come in, man, which would probably be relative high to low here, anywhere from like 3068 to 3081. You're at 30468 right now, and it could be higher. Sure, you could go all the way up to 1 cent, or I'm sorry, 0.00115, a percent or a tenth of a cent, an 11% of a cent. That's what I'm trying to say. You could. Yeah, I think it moves up. I think it's going to move up. I do. Maybe in the more immediate terms, maybe it moves down just a little bit, but I do think that it's going to move up. But again, time will tell, and if it breaks out of this kind of like line here, this structure, I would say if you break below 3042, if you're below 3004, really probably like 30425, it's probably over. You're probably going down, and you're probably going to go down a lot, probably. I mean, more than a 50% drop from the current price. More than a 50% drop from the point that you'd break even, you know? And potentially even like greater than that. It could be 70% or more. But time will tell. I think you are going to move up higher. That's beer coin. That's the best I got. It's a new coin. It's hard. The reason I sound so unsure is because it's a new coin. I'm on the 4 hour. And this looks like the long-term chart, right? Like it looks like how a month chart should look. There's not enough history for this thing. So I don't like that you have a lot of volume here, right, at your high, and it's just died off since, but you still have decent volume at the current rate, right? Even consolidating, you have pretty damn decent volume. I'm not gonna, like 75 million on a $400 million, that's not bad. If it's fake volume, like, some people are like, it could just be all fake volume, artificial. Maybe it is, I don't know. But it looks good enough to me. I think it is going to move up higher. So, beer. DJT is the next one. Another kind of meme coin. Donald J. Trump. Now, Makarbajal, you said that it's a new coin and it's a $2 million market cap, if I remember correctly, right? Or it was less than that. Unless it's grown a lot recently. Let's just see. I don't know, man. Unfortunately, my friend, there's not really too much to go off of here. So I'm going to assume it's this one with $108,000 in volume, 24-hour volume. I'm assuming Save America is the one you're talking about. You might have said it's on ETH. Maybe you said it was on Sol. I can't remember. But I don't know what the market cap is, unfortunately. There should be a way. Like, why can't I on my phone? I can see what the market cap is, but why can't I see it here? Like, I'm probably just missing something. Like, you probably can see it. I just don't know, man. Who cares? Hold up. I gotta check something out real quick. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Assuming this is the right one. Yes, it's moved up a lot in a phenomenal amount of time, right? That 1 week, whoever got in, right? They're probably cashing out well. I don't know, man. This is a new chart too. Hard to say. Looks like you broke out. Not a lot of volume. There's more volume coming down than there was going up. I don't like that personally. It kind of defeats the legitimacy of that breakout. Although I don't mind how you look on the fibs. Yeah, you probably don't go lower than that. I think you found your higher low. You're probably moving up. Inevitably, if this thing does well, you'll see it above a cent, maybe even above 3 cents. You're at 17% of a cent right now, so that's the best I got, man. Unfortunately, it's too new for me to really have a geared opinion on it. But Jasmine is the next one for Muhammad El Mensi. This one I can generate an opinion on. Breakout move for sure. Decent volume, not this crazy volume, but still pretty damn decent. I mean, like, if you took this away, that's some of the highest volume you've ever seen, right? Other than these 2 weeks here, that's some of the highest volume you've ever seen. So that's actually good volume there, breaking out of this move. If we look at this thing for what it is from an all-time high perspective to a relative all-time low perspective, yeah, man, 61869, that's where you're going. 5.5 cents, 7.77 cents. Enough said. You're going up there over the weeks and months to come. If you get a red week, yeah, I know what you're probably thinking, right? There's bearish divergence if you get a red week. This bearish divergence will be there. It will continue to be there until it's not, until you keep growing, right? Let's see. I guess not that week there. Wouldn't have been that week. I mean, at some point this week was above this previous high, and you did have bearish divergence, but by the time the week closed, by the time this move was done, you obliterated that. So I'm just saying, you have it here, but until you have a red week, you have 6 days, 18 hours left in this week, so that's a lot of time to go by. Even if you were to go down this much, you could come back up by the end of this week. Until you have a red week, you don't really actually have bearish divergence. It's presenting itself, it's just not printed, and even when it's printed, it's not confirmed. So I'm not scared with this. If anybody else is, I'm not scared about it personally. Why am I not scared? Well, beyond the fact that the price looks like it has a little bit more to go, the RSI bounced right off the 60, the bullish area of control. Very constructive, higher lows nonetheless. I would think that you would probably see at least a double top. If not, well, maybe not like a higher high. You can't go above 100. If not, maybe a slightly lower high at higher levels though, you know. But I do think you're going to go, yeah, 5.5 to 7.77 cents. Enough said. That's all I got. Jasmine, BSV. And that's going to happen, I mean, over the coming weeks, right? If you move down from here, you're going to be moving up inevitably until you go to those levels. That's the best guess that I have there. BSV, USD on KuCoin. Man, they don't know what to name it. BCHSV. Bitcoin SV. right? Wasn't it Bitcoin ABC, or is that what they try to change Bitcoin Cash into? Is Bitcoin ABC? Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin ABC, man. That just sounds that would have, if that was the name that was going to go for Bitcoin Cash, man, that would have lost any marketability that we had, right? Maybe not any, but that would have lost, like, Bitcoin ABC. What are we, 5? I feel like we're the Jackson 5. $56. Which, hey, the Jackson 5 was actually a huge success, right? Let's see. Add an area that you found support before. Not recently, mind you, but back here. Right? You see all these lows coming in. I mean, you're just a little bit lower than that, but you're at this area still nonetheless. So, you might go a little lower, maybe. You know, oftentimes you get these lines like this, right? These diagonal lines where you're holding it, you break out. That's the best area to buy. Because everyone thinks you broke out, you're going down to zero, but it's like, haha, just kidding. It's like those are the best signal to buy is whenever you break lines like this. When you break a line that's like this, right? Like if this was your metaphorical line in the sand, which in my opinion it actually is, based off of previous resistance points and your current area of support, if you broke through that line, then I'd be scared. Then this is probably not the area to buy. But diagonal lines, that's a prime setup, I think, man. I don't know. Daily RSI here, bouncing off the oversold zone a little bit. You might come down a little bit more. That's okay. It's not the best looking daily RSI. 4 hour looks like trash too. Yeah, maybe you go a little bit lower. Maybe you do. Look at the relative low to high. Come on now. 1618 tips. Yeah, you go lower than the current price, but maybe not lower than that low there. $56 now. You probably don't go below 51.5. That's my best guess, but lower nonetheless. BSV, and then inevitably up. Inevitably, yeah. BSV is probably going to move after it finds this low over the weeks, over the months. It's going to move back up above $100. Probably work its way up to like $200, $300. Maybe even back to its all-time highs, but time will tell. We'll see how it goes. BSV to the best of my ability. Zen. Yeah, Zen. There we go. Weekly RSI holding at an area that it needs to hold, but also looking like it could be weak. That wouldn't be good, man. If you went lower from here, you need to hold this area, Zen. If you can't hold this area, you're going lower. And how low are you going to go? I would think you would at least go to $6.55. You're at $7.68. Potentially down to $5.80. I wouldn't think you go too much lower than that if you were to go down there, but it's all dependent on what you do. Can you hold this exact area? Can you not go lower? Can this be a double bottom of sorts in this little, like, can this prove to be like some kind of BART pattern? I hope so. Hold it here. Start getting some green stuff today, tomorrow, the next day. If you close here, okay, whatever. But just don't close. Don't go lower, man. Don't you dare take out these lows. You need to hold. You need to start moving them now. I think you will. I think you're at your low right now. Another bold call. I think we're threading the needle here. I think you're about to do that. Yeah. Maybe not exactly that, but yes, I think you will be back up at $15 in no time. If I'm wrong, well, we will see you down around, like, what was it, $6.50? Is that what it was? Something like that. I don't know, $5, whatever. But I have hopes. That's Zen. I think it's found its low. I think it's literally right at, like, you're at like some of the lowest points you're going to see for the coming months, to come. So probably a good area to buy. Not financial advice. Not a financial advisor. Bird dog, huh? Bird dog whiskey. I've never heard of it. No. Peshkakolaj. I've never heard of bird dog. I can see that there are multiple bird dogs. This one is 3.2 million, where that one has just under a million. That one has just under a million as well. Which one is the real one? There can only be one real Slim Shady, right? We all learned that. There's a song made about it. We're going to assume this is the real Slim Shady standing up right here. That's a nice move. What was that last week? 137%, or yesterday. Nice move. That's probably why you wanted me to talk about it. High to low, 1272 hit, 886 hit. Beautiful. You're probably moving up higher. Yes. Oh, yes, you are. I think so. Oh yeah, bro. You look great. You look good. Does that mean you're going to do another 100% in a day? Probably not. I mean, but still, some decent. I mean, maybe it could happen. You're at the point in your 4-hour RSI where things are just getting started. You're at the point on your fibs where it's classic area to find support. On the daily RSI, you are looking phenomenal. Yeah, it's bearish divergence, but again, it's not until you have a red day. And with what you're doing right now, man, I wouldn't be surprised if you close. You're at 4.02975. I wouldn't be surprised if you close today above 4.03785. And if you don't, whatever. You could close today red and you're still fine, but I don't think you're going to close it here. I think you would close higher. You're finding support at your previous closing highs here at your 886 100 area after interacting with your expected fib area. It makes sense. Next target's all the way at 404166 up here, potentially even up to 4047. This is your target area. 404166 to 404731. That's that. You're going there today. Today, over the coming week, short amount of time, you're going up there. And very well, you could be going beyond that, because really what we're doing here probably is a move based off your previous all-time high to your low here, going up to 40516, 40686, something like that could be the inevitable future, right, over the months, over the weeks to come. Anyways, Bird Dog, looking good. Looking pretty good. I'm not going to buy it, but it does look pretty good. That might be the winner of the night, actually, because I'm very confident that thing will grow the most in the shortest amount of time. But there are a couple, right? There was Coty and Zen, wasn't it Zen? That looked like they were at their lows right there. Which if they're at their lows, that's a good. But if is maybe it was Fetch.ai. I forget which one it was. Was it Fetch? No, it wasn't Fetch. It was Coty. It was definitely Coty and Zen, I want to say. Anyways, ADA, Coinbase. I think it holds this area for support. Let's look at a different chart, though. Kraken is fine. Holds this area for support and moves up higher. Looking at the weekly. Come on. Oh, man. Come on now. Weekly RSI looks like it's right at the area it'd like to bounce, being at the 40 end. This just higher low kind of structure that it's got. Yeah, I think it holds here. I don't think it moves lower. If it were to move lower, that'd be a breakout of this consolidation. I just don't think it's going to do that. So let's look at the relative low to the relative high. Yeah. Would it be this low? I don't think it would be this low. That looks kind of cleaner. Whatever. I think you're going to move up soon. Waiting for a breakout of essentially 51, 52 cents, somewhere around there. When that happens, you could see an expected retracement of this overall zone, which from a relative high to a low would put you at, come on now, pretty good with drawing that to the 61869 area. 62 to 65 cents, that'd be your next target area, and beyond, of course. Where is the cycle high going to be? That was your main question, right, my friend? That was your question, Nelson Farrell. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but it's one of those. It's got to be one of those, man. High to low. And I might not take the scam low. If you think about it like this, right? If I take that low, these numbers here, watch, they only get higher, right? This is at 621. If I put it at this low, it's now at 639, right? So more conservative targets. If I'm wrong, if that's low to take, these highs only get higher. So the 1272 is at 621. The 1618 is at $15. That's your range. And genuinely speaking, for a coin like this that has a higher market cap, it's possible, that it could see this cycle, that it could see 15. Cardano is at 43 cents. It's possible that it could see $15 by the end of the cycle. I don't think it's going to, right? I don't think it's possible the Earth could get hit by a meteor in a week. I don't think it's going to, right? But I do think that it could see $9. It could see $6.21. It's at 43.6 cents now, so that's phenomenal, man. I know people who were buying Dogecoin at 60 cents last cycle because they were trying to catch it before it went to $1. This thing's at 43 cents, and we're talking about a hell of a lot higher than $1. So solid gains probably throughout the cycle, yeah. If not, perhaps you do get tied up in a LTC, BCH kind of scenario where you find a similar but lower or a slightly higher all-time high, right, somewhere in this area. You might get tied up around $1.80 to like $4, but hopefully not. Hopefully you go up to $6.21, $9, maybe even $15, but I doubt it. But yeah, that's Cardano. By the way, Nelson Farrell, you requested cardamom. Cardamom. I typed it in on here, right? Cardamom. And it came up with Cardano. So I was like, oh, that's probably the typo. He probably wrote it in there and then it auto-corrected. YFI for TS Tilly. You know, TS, I like YFI a lot. You were asking, man. I actually do like YFI a lot. I think this one's underrated. $6,300, $6,400 right now. I do genuinely believe that YFI will be the first like somewhat legitimate crypto to achieve a $1 million price and beyond. Yes. That will not put it at a higher market cap. It won't even put it close to the market cap that Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin has, right? It's not going to do that, but it's absolutely an achievable market cap. If we look at the all-time high to the current low of this cycle, minimum target's 227,000, 682,000 in the expected zone with a price all the way up at 1.6 million at your 1886. I don't see you exceeding that this cycle, so really this is your range here. And specifically, this is like your expected range, right? The black box, so yeah, I've got a lot of hopes for this thing, man. It could absolutely see a 100x this cycle or more. It could see a multi-100x this cycle. It's possible. Certainly good gains from the current price. So yeah, I like it a lot. Let's look at the current kind of price action going on. Weekly RSI is fine. Could look better, but it's fine. I like the daily RSI. It's set up for a nice bottom, a nice bounce. And then the price action too, bro, yeah. Double bottom to finish it off. It's kind of like a BART 2. Man, you're probably going to see this throughout all of crypto, right? Where you had that move down, you're BARTing, and then you're just going to go up. We're about to see that, guys, over the coming weeks. It might even be over the coming days. Like, it could genuinely... I've been saying this every day now for probably almost a week. It's going to be any day now, guys. We are on the precipice of it. And if I'm wrong and we're not about to break out to the upside, well, we're gonna go down a bit of a ways, you guys. Hopefully not. Anyways, that's YFI. That's all there is, man. There's no more after that. So that's it. Absolutely, I think the winner of this video would be Bird Dog. Funnily enough, from Pashkokalaj. Maybe it's Pashkokalaj. Pashkokalaj. I don't know. I'm going to say it like this. Pashkokalaj. Pashkokalaj. We're doing this for you, my friend. You are the winner of tonight's request video. Congratulations. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for coming out. Genuinely, Bird Dog doesn't look bad, man. I'm probably not going to buy it, but it looks pretty good for the coming days. Beer looks good too. Honorable mention for Beer, honorable mention for Zen, and for Coty. I think those all look like they're at, Coty and Zen look like they're at low points and they're about to go up. Same thing with YFI. But Beer looks like it's at a high point. It still wants to go up more. I like Bird Dog though. I think I'm the most confident of that. Anyways, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.